Yes, thank you so much, Justin. This is your first full spring in a couple years. How'd you feel after your second start?
Felt good, just getting back out there and still trying to knock some rust off. And these guys have some good hitters on their team, so to be able to kind of get some feedback from what my stuff looks like, we're still trying to just dial in a little bit.
You obviously know this team well. What was it like facing them?
It was interesting. Some of these guys I've been with for a long time, particularly Bregman. So in this setting, it's a lot of fun to have that banter and face those guys. A little bit different in season, but I came out on the top today, so maybe I'll give them a call a little later and have bragging rights.
My understanding is that you are reintroducing a changeup. Thought process behind that, is there anything specific that you were working on today?
Well, it was a really right-handed heavy lineup, so I only threw one. I kind of threw a non-competitive one to Abreu. It's just a pitch that I've been working on for a couple years and trying to introduce it more. And I don't put in the time and effort for nothing. So trying to implement it in spring training is a good time to get reactions from hitters. So.
All of spring training, people keep asking you, why keep playing when you've done so much in your career already? But what is something specific that if you accomplish it would make you feel more satisfied?
Oh man, I don't know. To win a championship, for this organization, obviously, Steve and Alex Cohen, bringing me here and being very, very proactive with what they wanted, and to see how much this organization means to them. I think that trickles down to the players, so I would like to reward that passion and what all they've done for this organization already with the championship. That would mean a lot.
What's it been like playing for Buck Showalter?
It's been great. Spring training is a tough time to really get to know somebody. We kind of have our own routines, and he's got a lot of people that he needs to talk to, and I got a lot of work to do. So the times we have sat down and talked, I've really enjoyed his baseball mind, and it's a lot of unique perspectives he has.
Anything specific that you can share that stood out to you?
No, I just think that, the attention to detail that he has, and trying to get an edge in every little aspect, and just his the way he communicates that to his players, and all the things that you want in a manager. I think the communication is number one. We as players just want to know where we stand, and so when you communicate well, we know where we stand, good or bad. Foul ball. That's all you can ask for.
Of course, you're constantly learning, you're constantly evolving throughout your career, but what is something that you have learned from a mentality standpoint since that you've won your second World Series and another Cy Young?
I think the longer I play the game, the more it doesn't speed up on me, and you can just find comfort in where you're at in any situation because you've been there a lot. The one thing this year is this pitch clock. Even though I haven't had an issue with it, I was joking with Buck and Hef today, saying I might need to start doing some cardio again. I've kind of cooled it on the cardio the last few years, but I might need to start doing that again because backing up third in that one inning and having to go back on the mound and having that 20 seconds, it was a little brisk. So I need to tweak things a teeny bit.
What was the conversation between you and the umpire earlier today?
Yeah, the mound was a tad wet in the first inning, so I was slipping a little bit, and I just wasn't sure what the protocol was because I was trying to, you don't want to waste a pitch. I never want to waste any pitch, so I didn't know if I could call time and address that situation without having a ball called on me. So that was what it's about, and I think, his response was, he hasn't heard about the specific answer in the rules, but I think common sense prevails that, hey, call timeout, let me know what you're doing. He might come and look at it or not, I don't know, just to determine if it's wet or not. And then, I think obviously a wet mound is a situation, and it wasn't too wet. I don't want to make our grounds crew pissed off or anything, but, I think, a wet mound can lead to bad pitches and also injury, so we just need to make sure that's good.
At what point in the season do you think people are going to feel adjusted to all of the new rules?
I don't know. I think it happens quick. I'm hopeful that by the end of spring training, I'll be where I need to be. Oh.
Justin, you obviously have a career full of accolades. What moment have you cherished the most in your career?
I don't know. I mean, I think top to bottom last year was pretty special. You know, the team accolade winning a World Series was really special for a manager who's never won one, and kind of it was the last thing he needed on his resume. He's, you know, already a Hall of Fame manager, but had been so close so many times. So to be able to achieve that with him was something special. And then obviously, you know, coming out on top of that type of season and being able to win a Cy Young on top of that was incredible. Quite honestly, I think one of the things, I think winning that World Series game and having my teammates really kind of like celebrate that after the game was a moment that I'll never forget.
All right, thanks so much for the time.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. Appreciate it.